one of my best friends, someone I consider a sister, a true soulmate in a sense, came back into my life after a little over 2.5 years of slowly reconnecting, having difficult dialogue, and expressing and showing forgiveness towards one another. This is not an easy thing to do. And one thing I can say is that though it was really difficult to have to navigate, it was very much worth it. I am a firm believer of Nichiren Buddhism's philosophy of cause and effect, which is expounded upon in the scripture, but essentially highlights the simultaneity of cause and effect and our life. And today's encouragement is so appropriate, as is every day's encouragement, really. It says, in this noble and meaningful period of your youth and on throughout your lives, please overcome every obstacle without being defeated, forging ahead on your chosen path with the brilliant light of victory shining in your hearts like the morning sun. That is the most truly human way to live. This is the spirit of Nichiren Buddhism. This is the essence of our Buddhist practice. So if you can gain any insight from that, essentially, I embrace a philosophy that tells me that when you're young, you will undoubtedly face challenges. And the mission is to forge ahead through them, not to run away from them, don't avoid them, don't hide from them, and don't always try to seek pleasure. In this day and age, given the easy access to social media and it's so easy for us to hide behind a phone, behind a computer screen, behind a facade, in an effort to portray a persona that we choose for ourselves to the public and world around us. I mention this because my good friend is a social media personality. They are extremely influential and have been very, very successful in their endeavor to not only be a known influencer, but to truly change the lives of those that follow them. And with this being said, I lived with them during their humble beginnings of establishing this personality and this brand and this business that's now thriving. And we were in the mud together. There was a lot going on in the background that we both had difficulty navigating through under very different circumstances, under two very different circumstances. But the short of the long is that, for obvious reasons, when they ascended to, fame, celebrity, and success, this was understandably a really big adjustment for them and everyone involved, especially those in their inner circle. So as you would imagine, and as does happen often, there were some bumps, and then eventually there was a break. There was, a break in the foundation, and things fell, and they were falling already between the cracks, and shit hit the fan, for lack of better words. And it didn't have to do with the stuff. It didn't have to do with the materials of what came with the success or the fame or anything like that. It had to do with the fundamental differences that started to become and reveal themselves in our friendship. Again, in Buddhism, understanding and addressing the fundamental darknesses that we all have as humans is by far one of the hardest but most profound endeavors that we should choose to embrace, especially through the lens of faith. So this is something I've always understood, and it's something I've always had, in my mind. I've always kept it, close to my chest. And when we had this disagreement and falling out, I always knew, this is a part of the journey. This is a part of the growth. It was never something where I felt like, oh, well, this is it. that's done, washing my hands, and discarding it or moving on from it, I always knew at the bottom of my heart that this was going to be an extremely difficult transition for us, but it was necessary. And it was important to me to navigate using the tools I've been given through my Buddhist practice, the treacherous and very ugly and difficult to understand waters that came as a part of this new phase we were embarking upon. So even though there was a glitch in the friendship, there was optimism attached to the inevitable outcome. That outcome took years, but it happened. And that is where I'm able to not only find joy and peace in knowing that what I practice and choose to apply to my life stands true, but there is actual proof that comes from applying Buddhist wisdom to my decision making. So I'm really proud of myself that this video is a lot more uplifting than the last. And my content is going to vary because I want to bring my true self, my true feelings, my true experiences. But if I could, again, be helpful and give hope to anyone listening or watching, a lot of things in my life are still very much falling apart, but while others are piecing themselves back together. And I think that the true essence in being able to stand and have unwavering faith in the face of obstacles comes from a daily faith practice and in truly believing that winter turns to spring. So those are my thoughts today. I'm so excited again about being reconnected with my beautiful friend. And this has given me so much joy to the point where I wanted to come on camera to talk about it vaguely because I want to protect their identity, but wanted to talk about it nonetheless. So I'm going to go to work and I'll talk to you guys soon.